Awesome. Okay, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today to talk about ProDeploy Client Suite. I'm Ariana Shagatzadeh, and I have with me my team.
Hi, I'm Vanessa De La Torre.
And I am Alan Reyes.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. So before we start, I'd like to ask y'all a question and you can put it in the chat. So how often are you deploying hardware or implementing solutions in your company? Okay, awesome. So regardless of where you are in the deployment process, we have something to help you become more efficient anyway. So have you heard about the 80-20 split? This makes productivity very difficult, if not impossible, for most companies. This concept consists of the standard lifestyle of your IT department. So 80% of their time is spent on routine operations like deployment and support, with only 20% of their time is spent on strategic projects that actually benefit the growth of your company. And to allow that growth for your organization, there's a lot of things IT needs to go through. But unfortunately, our deployment services give you that flexibility. You can outsource all of that tedious deployment task to us so that you can allow your organization to enable innovation and focus on that growth. Now I'm going to pass it off to Vanessa, who's going to give you an overview about today's meeting.
Thank you, Ariana. Integrating new computer systems into your IT environment can improve performance and increase productivity. But we understand that developing them is time-consuming with routine tasks. By the end of this meeting, you will understand ProDeploy Client Suite and the key features of it. We will touch on ProDeploy Client Overview and then break it down into the levels that it contains. I'm going to pass it off now to Alan to get us started.
Yeah, thank you for that overview, Vanessa. And before we go any bit deeper into ProDeploy and the content that we have prepared for you guys today, I did have a quick question. So Ron, I'm going to go ahead and pick on you because I know you answered earlier, but what does your current deployment process look like from beginning to end whenever you do receive any new systems?
Oh boy. It's definitely not the best. When we get them, we'll get the systems and we'll put them in the storage room until they're ready to be deployed. And then, it's a pretty manual process.
Yeah, and is imaging something that you do for your systems?
Absolutely. Yeah, I have my IT guy, Bob. He has like a USB stick around and manually will do it. So
how long does that generally take per system?
Ooh. Usually about an hour or so. It's not the fastest process, honestly.
Yeah, and I can imagine that, say you're purchasing over 100 systems, that's already over 100 hours that you're spending on deploying those systems, and possibly more depending on any extra configuration that you might want to do. So our goal today is to pitch to you ProDeploy, which is one of the tools that we use in order to reduce that deployment time for our customers. But I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Ariana, who will give you guys an overview of ProDeploy.
Thank you, Alan. So the ProDeploy Client Suite helps you deploy your PCs with greater speed, less effort, and more control. Like Alan was saying, you would direct every detail of your deployment with our Tech Direct portal, which I'll talk about later. That will give you better control, automation, and also simplicity in your IT process. And our team is dedicated to making deployments easier for you. So we integrate new computer systems into your IT environment so that you can improve your performance and increase the user productivity. Deploying them involves time-consuming tasks, but with ProDeploy Client Suite, you can get an end-to-end deployment designed to address all of the specific needs. Plus it will help you project planning, and you can transfer all that knowledge into your deployment configuration support. Now I'm going to touch on basic deployment, which is our first level of deployment. With basic, you can accelerate deployment as you receive systems ready out from the box. So Ron, you mentioned earlier that it takes a long time, more than 100 hours to deploy your systems. Well, I see that with basic, you can customize your BIOS settings, select box labels, asset tags, daily asset reports, and also you can choose to have imaging, which is optional. But think about it like this. If you were to move cities, would you like your moving workers to just drop off all of your belongings in the lawn and leave? I know for me, that wouldn't be ideal. But don't worry, why should you be basic when there's better? I'm gonna pass it off to Vanessa so she can touch on the next level of deployment.
Awesome. Thanks, Ariana. Don't let staff limitations and complex processes slow technology and adaptation. Shift from a labor-intensive implementation to an automated light touch deployment. Liberate your IT staff from time-consuming deployment tasks. With ProDeploy, your reliable support that puts time and money back in your pocket so your IT staff can focus on more critical initiatives. One of the ways that we take the load off your hands is with Image Assist, which the tool can send us an image as you are configuring. We offer different types of images such as static, dynamic, and generic, our most popular being dynamic. This will allow you to set one image to different types of models and will automatically update when necessary. So think of ProDeploy as if you were going to move, but this time instead of leaving your boxes in the lawn, you would get the support that you need to get the boxes inside of your house. With this, you would be able to save lots of time. But don't worry, if this is still not what you're looking for, we have many more options. And I'd love to pass it off to Alan, who will touch on one of them.
Right. So up next on the ProDeploy client suite is actually ProDeploy Plus. And this builds on everything that Vanessa and Ariana just talked about with imaging and configuration, as well as on-site installation. But it has some additional benefits that, depending on your needs, might be more fitting for you. Starting off with Dell connected configuration, this essentially allows you to extend your network into our Dell facilities and factories so that you are able to customize and configure your PCs actively as that is being done within our side. Of course, we do this through a VPN, so there is no risk of any data breaches or security breaches of any kind. And it gives you the most customized way to receive your systems and the fastest deployment time that we can provide. We also do provide data migration. Ron, on those old systems that you mentioned that you were storing, is there any data that you do need to transfer to any new systems?
Absolutely. Sorry, I'm eating. Absolutely. It wouldn't be ideal to have my folks have a new system and all of their archived emails and all the applications that they use not be on their system. So I would have to definitely get things migrated over.
Yeah, and that is a service that we actually provide for our customers. We do provide data migration services where we will securely transfer all of that pre-existing data from your old systems into new ones, and we do so in a secure fashion and up to industry standards. And going back to that analogy from earlier about the moving houses, this is the ultimate level of house moving, where we provide service for you post deployment up to 30 days. And we do provide additional training credits where we will make sure that your staff is trained to work with our technology and our services. So I'm going to pass it off to Ariana to talk about Tech Direct.
Thank you, Alan. So as you can see here, this is high level. We highlighted some of the options that you have taking advantage of this free tool. Again, with Tech Direct, you can control your workday. Instead of having your workday control you, that's how we like to look at it. This online portal offers deployment, education, and support features with the click of a mouse or the touch of a screen. So this tool makes it really easy for IT management by providing 24/7 access to your account from only one location. And if you're thinking about using this tool to the maximum extent, we would love to run a demo with you so you can learn how to take advantage of Tech Direct and make your IT department easier. So I'm going to pass it off to Alan to touch on some additional features.
So I'm not going to touch on everything on this list, but I will say that with basic deployment, you do get that optional imaging service. I know Ariana talked a little bit about that earlier, but if you don't need all of those additional services that come with ProDeploy, we do offer imaging still, as well as a couple of other options. And I know, Ron, you talked a little bit about how when you have those pre-existing systems that you send them to storage. But what if I told you that there was a service that we provided that allows you to dispose of them in an appropriate manner? This is where our asset resale and recycling services come in. And this is actually a help you, help us situation, because by opting into this service, not only are we helping you remove and providing compensation for those old systems, but we are disposing of them in an appropriate manner and aligning with our 2030 moonshot goals, which are to be a more environmentally conscious company. So this is a great service that we've started to provide recently and that we think is an important part of our suite. But with that, I'm going to pass it off to I'm going to pass it up to Vanessa to close us out with the customer story.
Thank you, Alan. I want to tell you about a customer experience that we have recently experienced here ourselves at Dell. For the sake of security, I will keep the company information anonymous, but I will describe the challenges they occurred. This company had a small IT department supporting the computing needs of 150 full-time and 300 part-time employees, coaches, and staff. Provisioning and deprovisioning large numbers of users with computers and softwares, often on short notice and brief periods, proved to be very challenging and costly. With the help of Dell, they were able to sign up for ProDeploy Plus, and as a result, were able to deploy 60 laptops in just 1 week instead of 5. For this company, ProDeploy Plus was able to save this company energy, money, and most importantly, time. So, Ron, based off everything that we heard so far, could you see this being a positive impact to your company?
Absolutely. It sounds like it'll take away a lot of the manual processes that we are currently running, and could definitely help get all the junk out of my back storage room for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And as you can see, Dell is built on the principles of putting customers first. We provide complete end-to-end solutions across your entire environment with hardware, software, and services. Our services are designed to transfer your investments and enable you to be an agent of change for your organization. Below, Ariana is attaching a pamphlet with more information that dives in deeper on the information that we talked about today. We would love to set up a follow-up meeting with you where we could help customize your solutions to your needs. So I just want to know, what's holding you back from taking the next steps to improve your IT performance and increase your user productivity?